Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. Today we're going to do another bit of a chatty review, my thoughts and feelings video. This time we're going to talk about First Date, currently playing at the old Joint Stock in Birmingham. So if you want to know my thoughts, my feelings, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So we are back to the old Joint Stock for another show. I actually visited this theatre for the first time earlier this year to see The Mad Ones, but this theatre just keep putting on shows that have been scratching like the back of my head for many years with fascination, and I am eternally grateful. First Dates for me is one that I have been aware of for quite a long time. It originated in Seattle and then the following year went to Broadway. So it was in Seattle in 2012, it then went to Broadway in 2013, and I think the Broadway moment was when I learned about this show. I don't actually know how my love for the show came to be. Unlike others, I have like, oh yeah, it's because this person was in it. But I think it was just the overall plot, situation, music, everything together just glued really well, and I became slightly obsessed. But no one's fully brought it to the UK until now. We were graced with a streamed version in the good old COVID times. Do you remember those? Where it was, I believe, well received. It's a crazy time, COVID time, so I don't know how it actually went down monetarily, if even that's a word, but it's one that I've still been dying to see in the flesh, and lo and behold, it has now been at the old Joint Stock. So this story is, in my eyes, a good one. As you would probably assume from the title, the story of this show kind of goes along a first date. I know, surprising, which is in fact a blind date between the two lead characters, which are Aaron and Casey, and it goes through the entirety of their first date, with different things happening. It's really hard to describe it in the most easily to explain way, so that's useful. But it has a book by Austin Winsberg and music and lyrics by Alan Zachary and Michael, I want to say Weiner, but it could be Weiner, I don't know. But like I said, the music in it is really fun. I already knew the music prior to going in, so I was kind of ready for some of the like lyrics and like boppy bits. I did have a tapping my toe moment and a few times. It was just really fun to listen to it and see it in the flesh. And obviously, as a fan of rom-coms, I am fully there for a plot about two people having this first date with slightly comedic moments throughout it, and then on top of that you pile on the fact that there are other people in this restaurant through the date which kind of just look like normal everyday people. However, they take on different roles from people in Aaron and Casey's lives, which range from exes to family members to best friends to even a future child at one moment. And it's all done in front of you pretty much through the use of some very clever costume changes is the best way to describe it. Creatively, this show was really fun to watch. If you've never been to the theatre, it is a small space. I believe I overheard someone say that for this show in particular, its capacity is 70. There was one extra row than last time I saw it, I think. I feel like it's only 2 rows for the Mad Ones, and it was 3 rows at the front for this show, but I could be wrong, so please don't quote me on that. But as soon as you step in, you are essentially transported into this world. You are greeted by the maitre d', and that was a fun aspect, especially when you kind of hear snippets of people as they walk in. I went solo, so you walk through this door which is kind of open for you to be greeted by this person, and they're like, how many's in your party? And it's like, well, it's just me. Which is like really awkward. It could have felt that way, but the person playing the maitre d' was like, that's really cool. Well, you can sit wherever you want, but if you sit on the front row it could be a bit more fun, but it's completely up to you. I really enjoyed that way of introducing the show and introducing the room that you're going to be in. The set design has been done by Joanne Marshall, which I really enjoyed. I also really enjoyed listening to the music live. The musical director for this show is Callum Thompson. The cool thing about this one is that it ranges from last time I went to this theatre, in that the band in this show are actually above your head. I don't know the technicalities of this because I didn't want to ask how the music got from upstairs to downstairs, but my understanding is for this show the band is keys and drums, and I want to say bass. Give me 2 seconds. I was almost there. So for the performance, the conductor, who is also the MD and who's also on piano even, is Callum Thompson. Guitar was played by Gilbert Price, and Spencer Hedges was on drums, and then the rest of the backing tracks, if you will, were made and operated through some system, I believe, by Callum, which, like I say, I don't know technical things, but it was very cleverly done, and it just had this amazing feeling to listen to this music live. It's just cool. Sticking with the creative side, we have the choreography, which was done by Ellie Begley. It was really fun, worked really well alongside the like movement and direction, which is done by James Edge. The space is a small space, but the way it all was put together was just seamless. I always try and keep my eye on everything going on, but because it's such a small space it is tricky, but I definitely think I got most things. I do want to know if a certain cartwheel that happens in Act 2 was scripted or if it's a decision made by the actor. We'll get back into that cartwheel in a second, because we're gonna now move on to the cast. So the cast of this show is 5 people strong. You have 2 named characters and then 3 unnamed characters. So let's get through the 2 named ones first. We have Aaron and we have Casey. Aaron is played by Michele Dante. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I was watching Instagram stories earlier and I think that is how it's pronounced, but apologies if it is not. And Casey is played by Rakaya. I truly enjoyed both their performances, both separately and individually. The very clever thing about this is that at times it's like the whole day is paused whilst one person looks at an aspect of what's going on in their brain or in their imagination, and for the part that they're not part of, the other member of the date kind of has to freeze. Some of which are some of the most hilarious freezing moments. For example, Act 2, there is one point where the character of Aaron has to pause whilst eating a pickle off a toothpick, and he's literally stuck in a very hilarious way for quite a long period of time. So I very much enjoyed that, and like 100% applaud their pausing skills, if you will. I also really enjoyed their chemistry together. They bounced off each other really nicely. I think the whole cast like have gelled really well, and it's quite evident to see and very fun to watch. Like I said, there is also the unknown characters. So playing Woman 1, we have Laurie Hammer, hopefully I'm pronouncing that name correctly too. In the Broadway production, this is where I get nerd on you, I apologise, but in the Broadway production there was 2 women and this is done by 1, and that was really cool to watch a slight difference in what I thought I knew and what I've just seen, and that just to highlight how amazing Laurie was, because she had to go through so many different character moments, and I just really enjoyed watching her transform into all these different characters. The same with Man 1, who was played by Tom Kiteley. He also again takes on multiple roles throughout the entire show, and again it was really interesting to watch him like transform into all these different people. Man 2, who is Joey Warren, is also essentially the props guy. One of Joey's main characters is to be the waiter slash maitre d' of this restaurant that they're having the date in, and it is Joey's job as that role to take different props to Man 1 and Man 2, or Larry and Tom, to turn into these different characters, and it's seamlessly done, expertly like worked out, and it was just so clever to sit and watch how it is all done, but also how when you see Joey moving to give a new piece of costume to either Larry or Tom, how just putting on a hat or a pair of glasses or a cardigan, or in one instance a green scarf, just changes absolutely everything. The reason I mentioned green scarf is because there is one role that Tom plays as Man 1, if you will, who is Casey's best friend, and the moment the scarf went on after the first instance they happened, or you could feel like a buzz in the room, because everyone knew what character was coming next, and it was just really funny character to see and watch. And by the end, by the last time the green scarf goes on in Act 2, you just had this like buzz because it was going to happen this one last time, to which I don't know if it's an everyday occurrence, but when in our show Tom put that scarf on and you could hear the slight bubbling of the audience, he literally was like, yeah, it's coming, and that was really fun to watch. Like I think I probably said last time I visited this theatre, it is this small intimate room, and I think this show works well in this space because it's not an interactive show, the way that you are set up and sat in this room makes you almost inadvertently be part of this date and be with these characters. If you are sat on that front row, there is the chance that you might be picked on to hold a prop or have a brief kind of chat with one or two members of the cast in a brief moment. Overall, I just found this a really fun show to sit and to watch. I truly adored seeing it in the flesh finally after all these years, and I'm really excited to see what else comes out of this space for the rest of this year and then further afield. I feel like every time that I get into this space and into this theatre, there's just something special about being in a small space in a big city. It's just really cool, and I just want the best. So if I can make these little videos and send possibly one person to go and watch it from seeing this video, then I will be eternally grateful, because it's always good to promote and to go and see these small companies and these small theatres and these small spaces, and just to raise them high, because for the second time I just had the best time sitting in that theatre, and yeah, I loved it. Go and watch it. It closes on Sunday the 25th of August, so there is literally, I think, 6 shows left, so please go and check it out. And also, if you can't, just check out the theatre itself. There is a mix of one-off shows and cabaret moments and just everything, so go and check it out, spread the word, and just, yeah, go and watch. It's so good. But I'm going to leave it here and say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you come back for more theatre based fun and chats next time. There is a couple more reviews to come, which I'm very excited about, and yeah, I will see you soon, hopefully, for more theatre. But all that's left to say is the usual. I love you all lots, and so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and adieu. Bye.